Alex is the name, stock market is the game. And today we are talking about taxes. Yes, the topic everyone loves to avoid. But before you even think about running away, let me tell you this right from the start. There are places in the world where investors legally pay almost zero tax, close to none, on their investments. And in this episode, I'm going to reveal exactly where those places are. Because, as Brad Pitt says in the movie Meet Joe Black, death and taxes are the only two guarantees in life. Now, that should wake you up a bit because this might be the most important episode in the entire series. I'm not exaggerating, overreacting. This is the part nobody explains properly, the part that confuses everyone, the part that makes most beginners quit even before they start. If you get the tax side wrong, your long term investing plan becomes like pouring water into a bucket full of holes. You put money in and half of it leaks out. But if you get the tax side right, your entire future changes. So let's talk about it. And yes, later in the episode, I'm revealing the countries where investors pay close to zero legally and how that fits into your long term plan. The part one, taxes are always changing, but planning is not optional. Taxes and regulations evolve constantly. What is true today may be completely different in 20 years' time. Governments change laws, adjust rules, create new forms, sometimes just to remind us that they exist. But this doesn't mean we cannot plan ahead. In fact, planning your tax situation is something you should think about before investment even takes off. Yeah. Because where your money lives matters as much as what you invest in. Being an aviator gives me one very specific advantage. I have seen how different countries treat investors. Europe, very complicated, messy, designed by someone who hates joy. Oh, yes. The Middle East, they look at you and say, tax, my friend, relax, Habibi. The United States is a puzzle. But if you choose the right state, it becomes a masterpiece. And here is the golden rule. It's not about dodging taxes, it's about choosing the tax system that matches your life and your goals. That is not illegal, that's called being smart. Europe. Europe, the Cyprus opportunity. If you live in Europe, you already know that taxes can be aggressive. But here is the good news. You don't need to leave your home, you don't need to move your family, you don't need to change your lifestyle. You only need to change your tax residence, not your physical residence. You can literally keep living where you are living, but your taxes can legally live in Cyprus. Cyprus is one of the most investor friendly tax systems in Europe. They have lower taxation, simple rules, and clear rules, minimal complexity, and a structure that actually supports the investors. For long-term S&P 500 investors, Cyprus is like switching your investment from economy to business class. Same destination, but suddenly everything is smoother, quieter, and you get a glass of wine while you are compounding. The weather is crazy here. Well, hold your stake. Let compounding do the rest. That's what Larry Ellison said, the chief of Oracle. Recent surges in Oracle shares have driven his net worth to stratospheric levels. Stratospheric levels. USA, 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 the state that loves investors. For those in the United States, everything depends on the state. Some states drain your wallet, others drain your soul. And then there is Florida. Florida is sunshine, palm trees, and one of the best tax environments for investors. No income tax, fewer headaches, and better long term returns. Same American life, but upgraded. And then there is the, hold your breath, oh yes, the UAE. Zero tax, zero stress, we have oil, we don't need your money. If you want to go big, really big, there is the UAE. I will move further away from the coast. Yeah, it's Dubai, Abu Dhabi, a place where the official tax policy feels like it was written by someone who wants you to enjoy life and relax, keep your money, have fun, Habibi. Personal income tax, zero. Capital gains tax, yeah, you guessed it, zero. Stress, look at this, huh? Zero. And that is completely legal, completely legitimate, and extremely common for, you guessed it, pilots, entrepreneurs, and long term investors. The most important detail people forget, okay? Now, here's the part almost nobody knows, and this is crucial. You are only taxed when you actually earn from the fund. Meaning, you are taxed when you sell, okay? Or when you withdraw. Not while you are building the investment. So, if your plan is long term, 15, 20, 30 years, you don't need to rush to change anything today. You can just enjoy. You could literally invest for decades quietly and only optimize your tax residency right before the payout years. That gives you freedom, flexibility, and time to prepare smartly instead of panicking. Rain is here. Rain is here. Let's go slowly back. What does this mean for your future? The same investment strategy with the same contributions over the same decades can give you dramatically different final results depending on where you choose to be a tax resident later in life. So someone in one country ends with X amount, while someone in another country ends with X plus 50% or even more. Same work, same effort, same habits, different outcome. Why? Because taxes matter. If you don't plan for them, well, the government will be happy to plan them for you. This is why episode 4 exists. Because you need to understand where to invest from. If you get this wrong, your investment future slows down. If you get it right, your future accelerates. But save your excitement because episode 5 is where things get juicy. We are putting numbers on the table: compound interest, real world returns, and when the profit actually shows up. And I'll even answer the forbidden question: should you ever sell? See you there.